What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. This is the Love and Marriage Huntsville, and last night's episode was good. It wasn't as good as I would say the previous two, but the ending was done very well. Okay, so here we have Melody with her mouth open because, baby, the bomb that Keke dropped on her. And of course, Carlos King put, to be continued. So I'm definitely looking forward to next week's episode. But let's go ahead and recap this one. So it is, the sixth season, the 20th episode titled Sex, Lies, and Videotape. And it begins with Tisha and her two girls. They're working on their hair care line, which I love, right? Tisha and Marsau, they are entrepreneurs. They started Black and, they're selling t-shirts. Marsau, comes in. Did anybody else notice he gave Tisha the side hug, even though they've been married for 11 years? He gave her the church side hug, and the kiss that he attempted, right, to, give her, it didn't plant. There wasn't any kind of, skin to skin contact. It was, it was giving very much, I wouldn't even say pastor and first lady because typically pastors kiss their wives and it's on the cheek, but it's actually, they hit the skin. Now he did kiss his daughters, which was, I thought was very sweet. But he walks in and he just starts bringing his, dour energy, right? He comes in just questioning people. He's talking down to Tisha saying, why don't you drive the girls? And this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Marsau's a piece of work. I'm sorry. He's just every single episode, he's so negative. And so, Tisha sends the girls out into the next room to take a break. And then her and Marsau begin talking, which, again, they need that, adult time. But he's like, we're making, mini moguls here. And, you need to drive them more. And Tisha's like, no, there's a thing as balance. They need balance. They're still children and they need to learn the fundamentals of business before working 12-hour days. Okay, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, like, child labor laws are there for a reason. Let these girls enjoy their childhood. Now, I will say that their oldest daughter, and their daughters are Mila and Macy. I'm not sure which is which, but the one who has, a real interest in the money, the accounting aspects, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, so she's letting her interest of the business side be known. They need to get her into some advanced math classes, some accounting classes. I love it. So moving on to Kimmi and her friend Angela. So Angela is that type of friend that's very encouraging, right? There's two types of people in this world. There are people who drain you and are exhausting, like the Scott brothers to me, or what they've shown on camera. And Kimmi also confirms that later on in her conversation with Angela, which we'll get into in a minute. And then Angela, who is, very uplifting, encouraging. Kimmi was discussing her libido issues as a result of her cancer treatment. Now, to me, if she's having libido issues from a specific medication, Kimmi's a nurse, right? She knows this. Like, she knows biochemistry, she knows, physiology, anatomy, all that good stuff. So, my thing is, I mean, I understand that, she says she feels bad and all these things, but I really feel like Maurice can grow up just a bit and put his own selfish desires to the side. And she should focus on her health and not, they were talking about like Kegel exercises and all these different, techniques to boost her libido. But that's not going to, in my opinion, I mean, it could help, but if you're taking a medication that is designed to suppress that, to try to save your life, that's more important. But Angela, she suggested, therapy, and possibly doing some really, like sexy photos And Kimmy's like, well, your husband is a photographer. And they laugh, but she's like, no, I got a female photographer because I wanted it to be a surprise for my husband. And it really helped us. So Kimmy's like, okay, I'll take that suggestion. And again, just bless her heart because she is really fighting for a man who embarrasses her constantly and went on Carlos King's podcast and just humiliated her so much so that strangers were taking up for Kimmi during her time of battling cancer, which is so serious. I mean, Suzanne Summers, one of the biggest health advocates that I knew and I grew up watching. She just lost her life today, and her birthday was tomorrow actually, but she lost her life today due to breast cancer. So it's nothing to play with. And I hope that Kimmi is focusing more so on her health than Maurice's selfishness, because him and his brother are a piece of work. Moving right along to pieces of work, we have Martell. We have Martell, who, he's talking with Marsau and on the couch, and they get into it. And, Martell, he misses Melody so bad, which we can see why, because when they were talking about their finances and, going back and forth about Marsau's bankruptcy, he's like, I would be, open and honest about, my bankruptcy, but I wouldn't put you on stage or pay you because, you wouldn't be. And, Martell is going back and forth saying, that he should have paid Melody to speak. And we can see who definitely was the brains of of the operation when they were in business, when they were married. It was definitely Melody. And so Chris Fletcher comes and he he puts a for sale sign out in the yard. And he's like, hey, yo, I'm outside. When I first heard that, I was thinking maybe he did have a moving truck. If he rolled up in a moving truck, like, you got to go right now. That would have been hilarious. I don't know. Maybe that'll be next episode. But anyway, he comes in and he's trying to play referee between Marsau and Martell because they're going back and forth about money, about business. And it's a mess. Martell shades him and he's like, if it wasn't for me and Melody, Marsau would still be managing that movie theater. We would have left him where we found him. And and Marsau comes back. He's like, well, when I bought out Scholt, it was in the negative, and me and Tisha turned it around. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. It's just a testosterone contest. But anyway, so Marsau and Tisha are making a video, Bet on Black, for a charity scholarship fundraiser that they're doing. And they have like, 1 million takes. And Tisha's like, sexy isn't my love language, which is not a love language. But Marsau, he cannot give encouragement to save his life. Like, he is such a narcissist. You can see Tisha trying and they're doing take after take. And he's like, no, don't do it like a housewife, do it like a single lady. And it's just like, that's not any way to try to motivate or inspire anybody, Marsau, especially your wife, But anyway, they eventually get the commercial done. So Melody meets with Keke, and at the end, and Keke, she looks better. Mel's like, I'm glad that you're looking better and you're feeling better. Keke's like, yeah, I didn't come to the Ace's baby reveal because I wasn't feeling good. And Mel's just kind of like, But Keke, she is dropping tea on Melody about Marsau and 2 other women who are not Tisha supposedly having a little rendezvous, if you will, right? Some extramarital affairs. So, and Melody is sitting here, she gasps and she has her mouth wide open. I thought that was the perfect shot for this recap. But yeah, I cannot wait to see what next week holds, because I feel like Keke has gotten to a point where she really feels hurt and betrayed by Tisha and Marsau. And so she's like, if you guys aren't going to protect me, then why would I protect you? And so we see, of course, in the trailer, her and Tisha get into it, and she flings water on Tisha, and Marsau's like, drug test her and lock her up and blah, blah, blah. Just It's just messy. They have filmed the reunion, so I'm telling you, I cannot wait to see what the reunion, shares or lets us know. But yeah, this was a good season. I would have to say Carlos King and the rest of the cast, they definitely did their thing. They brought it this season. So you guys drop down in the comments. I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts. And please be sure to like the video if you haven't done so already. Subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Take care, aces. Bye.